Alrighty, y'all. So, today I am going to be working on my set for New Year's Eve. We are in 2025, and I'm going to be working on my set for New Year's Eve at the Foundry in San Francisco, which is a super sick venue that I've been to once. And it's not typically a music venue, but they're converting it to a music venue. And I got invited by my brothers Oteb and Solrak, which is backwards for Beto and Carlos. They're my guys. I've been DJing with them for years now. We go way back, and whenever they hit me up for an event, I know that it's going to be something very special. They've been doing their brand Perreo Eléctrico for a couple months now. I would say probably like 2 years. They've been running it. Super dope concept. Um, so dope that actually it started getting copied and replicated verbatim by other promoters in the Bay Area, which we shall not name, but literally took the name verbatim, Perreo Eléctrico, were blasting it as if it was theirs. And I even heard that they started telling venues that that was their parties and showing footage of the twins' parties saying that that was their doing. So yeah, that's just something that goes down in the industry as a DJ. I no longer associate myself with that promoter, just because these guys are my friends, and I just would not rather work with that person because I don't appreciate that kind of business. So I was cool with this promoter before. I actually helped them expand to Sacramento for some of their parties. Um, the person in question is always treated me with respect. But personally, when I found out that this happened, I had to cut some distance, and I ended up blocking them on social media. That's just me being transparent about that because in 2026, I do want to move forward. Just being more transparent about who I'm working with and who I'm associating myself with. I think that historically DJs have kind of held back from saying who they work with and who they don't. But, I just want to prevent people from going through the same headaches that I did. And so, yeah, if you want more details, feel free to message me. I just don't want to super publicize this person's information, also because I don't want to give them any more attention that they deserve. And so, yeah, I just want to put the situation out there. But, anyways, those are my boys, Otep and Solrak. They're partnering with Anthony Presents, who's also a really big promoter here in the Bay Area, famously known for bringing artists like Drake, Bryson Tiller. He's built his Sundays brand, which is a Sunday day party that blew up in San Francisco at the End Up, which is a popular venue here in the Bay. And he's done a lot for the community. He does a lot. He has a lot of great content. Um, he's also someone that I haven't really worked with too much in the past, just because he does more like R&B, hip hop stuff, and I've always done a little more Latin stuff. So we just never got to work with each other, but I'm glad that we finally able to make it happen with this collaboration between Perreo Eléctrico and Sundays. So shout out to them. Shout out to the Foundry, the venue in San Francisco. Um, Super dope spot. And yeah, so it's a two dance floor party. It's going to be the Latin room, which is going to be the main room. That's where I'm going to be. Um, the lineup for that room is Breeza, who's opening up. One of my homies, super dope producer and DJ. Um, Definitely check her out. Then it's going to be me, and then it's going to be the twins right after me in the main room. In the side room, it's going to be Noah Boomin and Seleni, two other really dope DJs. And that's going to be in the front room, which is going to be more hip hop and R&B oriented. In my set, I'm still going to try to play some reggaeton, some R&B, hip hop, EDM. I'm gonna try to mix it up a little bit and just keep it fun, keep it entertaining. And so that leads me to where we are now, which is I am starting from scratch. Um, Pretty much my entire music library. Um, what I mean by that is that yesterday I deleted every single song that I had in my record box, and I started dragging new folders into here. Now the thing about Rekordbox is that I came from Serato 3 years ago. I started tweaking with Rekordbox here and there, and then really decided to go all in about 2 years ago and just deleted Serato from my computer. And one thing I will give to Serato is that they have really great file organization, um, like just user interface. And I saw that with their most recent update, they actually really stepped it up. So I did want to go and like check out those features, see how that can streamline my music organization process. But at the same time, I just I don't see myself going back to DJing with a laptop. Um, I've been doing USB sets on Rekordbox and CDJs for the last 2 years, and I've absolutely fell in love with it. I just feel more present with the crowd. I feel like I can engage better with the people around me. I don't have the typical Serato face, so I'm not just like I don't have my face all up with the computer. I'm not typing anything. I'm not scrolling on a mouse. And for me, it's just I think as a performer, I rather be more engaged with my crowd. So I think DJing on CDJs allows me to do that, and it's definitely been a journey. It's been a I started off really rough because I didn't have CDJs at home to practice with. The guitar centers near me didn't have any CDJs set up, so I pretty much had to only learn from watching YouTube videos of when the CDJ 3000s first came out. Learning how to use them, watching tutorials, and then pretty much exporting in USB at home and arriving to some of the biggest nightclubs in SF at the time and seeing if what was going to happen. And I'll tell you one story specifically. I was at YOLO nightclub, which is now actually reopening to the Buddha nightclub. But that was the first time I was going to be at YOLO. It's a super big club. At the time, it was really popular. And I had my friend DJ B Fresh opening up for me. Shout out B Fresh. He had his laptop plugged in, and I showed up, and I had exported a USB at home. And this was the one of the first times I ever was going to be on CDJs. The CDJ 3000s had just came out, and so I show up and grab my USB. I plug it in, and right off the bat, we start having issues because I guess the CDJ 3000s hadn't been fully updated. So there was something going on that my USB wasn't being read properly. I also didn't realize that I had to reanalyze a lot of my beat grids on the songs. So I would load a song and it said it was one specific BPM, but it was actually a different one. So for the first time ever on CDJs, I was at one of the biggest nightclubs in San Francisco, and I had a couple of train wrecks, which as a professional DJ is embarrassing, obviously. But you know, those situations led me to become a better DJ, which now I feel proficient on CDJs 2 years later. The set after that one was at Temple nightclub, which for those of you who are from the Bay Area, you know that Temple is one of the biggest nightclubs in the Bay. That was really my learning grounds. I did a couple of sets there on USBs that I feel like really helped me get out of my comfort zone. You know, I opened for Pauly D. I opened for Sick Kick, the guy with the mask. I opened for Henry Fong, one of my favorite DJs of all time. And I did USB sets all 3 times. And as someone who had never used CDJ 3000s, I was just super scared. And I did mess up a couple times. There's some things that I had to figure out with the CDJs. But yeah, I mean, that's a whole video for another time where I could talk about my process, about um, how I went from super beginner on CDJ 3000s to now I feel really comfortable on CDJ 3000s. And I actually, like I said, don't really see myself going back to Serato. But the one thing that does want to bring me back is the music organization, the file organization, because Rekordbox, I'm sorry, but you need to step it up. You need to step it up because this stuff is it's good, it's functional, but it could be way better. And especially after Rekordbox got acquired by Alpha Theta, um, there have been some improvements, but mostly slip ups than not. You know, just a couple of weeks ago, Record Boxes went viral on social media because um, there was some corruption happening with like old USBs and the new Record Box software and all this stuff. So DJs all over the world were going crazy and were scared that their Record Box was not functioning properly. And so some DJs did have sets crash mid performance. And so that's not a great way for Alpha Theta to kind of kick off their launch with the updates. I also saw a meme that was super funny where like here, for example, on a track, when you want to, these two buttons here, they're removed from playlist and remove from collection. Like, why are these two buttons right next to each other? And I agree with that because this is like, if you're just trying to remove from a playlist and then your finger slips and then you accidentally click remove from collection, then it's just not great. And so there's a couple things like that that are smaller, but overall, I think just also I don't like that when you can't delete songs straight from here and that'll delete on your computer. Like in Serato, you can do Control Shift Delete, and that'll delete the actual song from your computer as well. Whereas here, I don't think you can do that, from my knowledge. You can remove it from the collection on Rekordbox, but I don't think you can actually delete it from the the computer itself. I think you might be able to. You might have to go here, like Show and Finder. Yeah, here. And then you would delete it from here, which I guess is not terrible. It's just one extra step, but I would just rather not do that. Um, so yeah, so I have this folder here that I dragged into here, and pretty much what I like to do whenever I grab a new track is I like to load it in. First, I like to hit the Q button so that it aligns the beats. Setting the first cue point allows Rekordbox to determine the rest of the beat grid. I learned that actually from a YouTube video. I didn't know that because in Serato, you could just set a cue point anywhere and it won't influence anything. But in Rekordbox, it actually wherever you set the cue helps the algorithm pretty much set the rest of the beat grid. So then what I like to do is I set one cue point at the beginning of the song so that I can start it whenever I want to. Then I set another one when the vocals come into the song or when I want to bring the song in. Typically, it is when the vocals start to come in. There's a few occasional reasons where I wouldn't want that to be the case. But for the most part, I like when the vocals start to come in a track for that to be my second cue point. So I'm going to start it from right here so we can take a listen. So that's my second cue point. Then my third cue point is always at the drop. And I always like having here at the drop. So let's play this. So I always set the third cue point right at the drop. And then the fourth one, I typically leave this open, but there's a couple of times if I'm doing a pre-planned set where I know I can't miss an exit, or if like say the second drop is just completely horrendous and I want to avoid it, I will set a fourth cue point, typically around the second breakdown. So you see here, I would set it about right here. I would set it about right here so that I can use these bars right here to transition out. So this would be the drop, and then I would start mixing in the next song here, and then I would transition out by the time it came here. And then I would fade out to the next one. So this is kind of my standard process. I know that for more creative DJs, they would sometimes set these cue points to specific words, or I know other friends, they'll set another cue point at the very end, like an H. They'll set it to these last couple of bars right here. So that way it allows them to have room to mix it in acapella. So say like this next track is an acapella. They would hit the H grid. So let's set this one right here. I think it's about here, but let me just confirm. Yep, right there. So we'll set the H right here. And then if this was an acapella, then you could start by pressing the first cue point and lining it up with the last cue point of this track. So this is something standard that I feel like I would do. Sometimes, like I said, these E through F and G, could use these for like specific words if you wanted to. But like I said, it just really depends on how you organize your music. And like I know one of my friends, Sean Looney, he does a lot of really creative transitions. So for him, his cue points look very, very different than the ones that I use. So yeah, so right now I just kind of wanted to show you guys that I'm working on this set for the Foundry. Unfortunately, I am using Streamlabs to stream this video right now, and I'm just testing them out, seeing if I like it. So I'm limited to how long this video can be. And so I'm running out of time, but I just wanted to do a first initial test for this streaming thing using my laptop and Streamlabs. So, yeah, feel free to drop any questions below regarding questions you have about how I transitioned from Serato to Rekordbox, or how I plan to go back from Rekordbox to Serato if I do. If you've been using Serato and some of the new updates, give me some suggestions, some ideas. If you use Rekordbox, I'd like to hear some of your ideas and tips for organizing your library. And yeah, I appreciate y'all for watching this video. And I hope to see some of you maybe New Year's Eve. And also, yeah, if you have any good Latin house, Latin techno, um, just any kind of Latin EDM, please feel free to send it through. And I'll give you credit when I listen to it. So, yeah, appreciate you guys.